happened at last. You are going to be so pleased and proud of me today. You really are. Hello to you, Chris Reardon. This is United Kingdom Talk, and I have been busy. I have been busy bee. What have I been talking about possibly for the last 3 years? Any idea? Could it be... Here's a clue. Is it something in the kitchen? Is it? Are you a new... Oh, I'm sorry, you're a new listener or viewer. Well, you won't know what I'm talking about. What is one of the most hated jobs ever in the history of kitchen invention? Come on, what is it? Is it making the tea? No. Is it cleaning the fridge? No. Is it cleaning the floor? No. Last week, I'd done it at last. After months of pandering about, I cleaned the oven. Hooray! At last! I have cleaned the oven, boys and girls. I know there's a lot of women listening and watching the programme at the moment who thinks, clean the oven, that's just one of those things that you do all the time. Oh, not here, I'm afraid. The last time, and I hate to tell you this, the last time the oven was cleaned properly was when Mum came to visit. I know from the sort of outside of things that doesn't sound too bad. But if I tell you that I lost her, she died in the year 2000, you'll see the problem. The last time that oven was properly cleaned was... I mean, it's not... Don't get me wrong here. We're not talking that grease is falling off the roof of the oven into the food or anything like that. It was kind of clean-ish. But this is what Gordon Brown, illustrious Prime Minister, let me just genuflect when I speak his name. Yeah, that's right. Here in the UK, when you come to the UK now, the government are so people controlling now with their cameras everywhere that you have to genuflect on one knee every time you say the name Gordon Brown. Oh, I've got to do it again now. Gordon Brown, right? Because if you don't, the council, any of the councils, right, that you fail to genuflect in when you say that name, the cameras, the traffic cameras, will take a photo of you and the council will send you a fine. Yeah, it's true. No one has to put a ticket on anymore here in the UK. Oh, it's shocking, dear. The cameras will hear you because they've all got microphones. Oh, my God. It's worse than George Orwell's 1984. It really is. Or was it 1986? 85, perhaps? I don't know. Anyway, we have cameras everywhere here in the UK, and every time you say that name, the Prime Minister's name, you have to genuflect down on one knee, because if you are heard saying it, and you will be, don't think you can hide in a public convenience or something like that and say the name in front of friends, and then get down on your knees. You can't do it. They will know that you haven't genuflected on one knee. A picture will be taken, and then automatically, without any person involved, you will get a letter through the post saying you were heard saying the name Gordon Brown. Oh, sorry, just a minute. Down on one knee, up again. You were heard saying that name, and you did not genuflect on one knee. Therefore, we will fine you £200. However, if you pay the fine within 60 days, we will reduce it to £100. Thank you so much. The kindness of the councils here in the UK is quite astounding sometimes. It really is. And if you work in a council and you're watching a show, believe me, we all know it's such an important job. The councils of the UK, the people at the top running the councils, they are so important. That's why. That's why they need great big houses and endless expenses to spend on anything they want. They need that money because they are so gracious and good. And to get the money, we must be fined constantly. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me in a few years' time if you didn't actually have to do anything to incur a fine. I think I'm going to speak to our illustrious leader about this, Mr. Brown. Occasionally, not always, sometimes he rings up and asks my advice. You know how it is. Oh, they all ring here, dear. They all ring me for advice. The Prime Minister spoke to Barack the other day. Yeah, hello, Chris, how are you? What do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? I said, I don't know. Sometimes I'm able to give advice to our friends. I had the Pope on the phone the other day. Wasn't a, you know, I mean, it was an important call. He couldn't decide which hymns to sing in Rome on Sunday. So I was assisting him in that. He said, shall I sing it in German? I said, well, it's up to you. You are German, you know, sing it in German if you want. But will they understand? Probably not. Probably not. But why stop there? You know, I mean, that's the funny thing. When you go to other countries, right, often they're speaking in their own language, and I can never understand that. Why on earth would you speak a different language? If everyone spoke English, it would be so much easier, wouldn't it? So my advice to all these people who keep ringing up here, speak English and I'll know what the hell you're talking about. Most people don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. But back to that little story there. Yes, I think we should just do away. The government here in the UK could save an awful lot of money if they did away with all the cameras, all the little cameras everywhere, which, remember, are all using electricity. What do you think they run on? Clockwork? No, they're using more electricity. Therefore, that is scuppering the government's plans for their green credentials, isn't it, eh? More and more cameras, more and more electricity. Don't think I hadn't thought of that one, dear. Come on. If we could do away with all these cameras, we could do away with the police force, save a fortune there, and then the worry is, of course, that then our illustrious leaders in Parliament and in the councils, the trouble is, then where are they going to get their money for their high living? Well, I've got the answer to that as well, boys. We send all ordinary people like myself, just send them automatic fines 3 or 4 times a year. The wording on the letter could be, this is your ordinary fine. Please pay £200, or if you pay within 60 days, we reduce it to 100. Thank you so much. You're all so kind. I mean, my heart, oh, the heartfelt thanks I feel every time someone says to me, one of those cameras has got me. And I say to them, yes, but you don't understand. The people at the top need the money for their lifestyles. My God, we've got whole swathes of people working in offices. What are they called? White-collar workers, I think they're called, dears. White-collared workers who work for the government, whoever the government is at the time. They work for the government and they sit in their office, typing away and adding up numbers. Oh, what an exciting job that must be, to just sit there and do that all day long. Looking at their pictures that these cameras have taken. Now, what shall we do to that one? Now, what shall we do to that one? I remember a while ago, I don't know, some woman minister on there, and she said, why worry about the cameras? If you do nothing wrong, then you will be invisible. Oh, well, invisible, dear? I don't know what film she's been watching. I do remember the Invisible Man, but the last time I looked in the mirror, I could see myself. I must be a very bad person in that case, because I'm not invisible. Try it yourself. Have you got a mirror nearby? Huh? Have a look at yourself in the mirror now. Can you see yourself? If so, you must be a very bad person, because you're not invisible, like that minister said. Driving around the country at least 2 miles over the speed limit. It's shocking, really. You should get double the fine. That's what I think. Do away with all the cameras, all the police force, and all the white-collar workers who sit there trying to find out who owes this there and who's done this there. Do away with them all and just have one person pushing a few buttons on a computer, issuing automatic fines to everyone, including the people who used to issue the fines themselves. I'd like to see their faces then, wouldn't you? Anyway, I'm not quite sure how we got onto that subject after we were talking about oven cleaning. Nevertheless, I have, boys and girls, now at last cleaned my oven. Incidentally, if you've got any comments on any of the show, especially what I've just said there, what do you think about that? I do think it would be much easier for this country, and indeed the world, to just issue 3 or 4 automatic fines. We can assume that everybody in the world has sinned, boys and girls. We have sinned. Oremus Deus quinomodo sanctus domino. I can do Latin. We will assume that everyone has sinned approximately 4 times in a year. Now, probably you have sinned more times than that. An array of different sins. Today, I, Chris Reardon, am a temporary priest. And I may be able to absolve you of your sins. All you've got to do is email me in with your 4 most recent sins, and I shall either absolve them, which is unlikely, or I shall issue small fines on behalf of our government. And then just send the money in and you'll be fine. Email address to the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Come on, gang. I want to know what your last 4 sins were. You know you can say anything to me. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's a bit naughty, I want to hear about those as well, my darlings. Of course, I won't read out any naughtiness. This is a family-based programme for all to listen and watch. What were your 4 most recent sins? Let me know now. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Come on, rush onto that keypad, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Back to the oven cleaning. Yes, it was the other day. Now, I'd put off this oven cleaning lark for a long time because I was scared of the warnings on the back of the oven cleaning. Now, the thing I used was called Oven Pride, okay? Oven Pride was the product that I used to do this. And I read the thing and said, make sure your hands are covered with rubber gloves, which are supplied, but you can use other ones. Make sure your arms are covered. Make sure the floor is covered. Well, by the time I got ready to clean the oven, I could barely move, dear. I was like one of those mummies, you know, with the bandages all around them, and you can't move. I had so much protection on me, dear. And I think it advised to wear goggles as well. I didn't have a pair of goggles, but now that I think about it, I will actually, I think I will go down the DIY place and purchase some goggles. Although that's all I'll be buying there, thank you very much. Oh, we don't do DIY, thank you very much. No, thank you. Don't like DIY, hate it. I feel quite butch, actually, when I'm going into Wickes or B&Q or Sainsbury's Homebase, one of those lot, you know, the DIY places we have in the UK. Yes, I'll see if I can walk it. I'll wait until a van comes round the corner and these 3 or 4 lads jump out of the van, you know, usually smoking a cigarette or eating a bacon butty as they walk into Wickes, and then are told off for smoking in the shops. They have to flick it outside, don't they? I might walk in with them, and then people would think I'm a builder or something like that, you know. Perhaps I could go in old clothes. Old pair of tracksuit bottoms covered in paint and brick dust, that sort of thing. You know, the sort of thing. I might do that so that they think I'm an actual decorator come builder type person. And I shall go in there and purchase, next time I do it, I shall purchase a pair of safety goggles. Because I mean, I suppose when I think about it, if you get some of that stuff on your skin, it's bad enough. Get it in your eyes. Oh, you only got one set of eyes, haven't you? Huh? Very dangerous. So, covered everything over, read the instructions, and You know, it was quite easy. I have to say it was quite easy. Now, this is strong stuff. It was recommended to me by my friend Ron. So I poured... I've had it for weeks. I'm just scared to use it. Poured the stuff, some of it, into the oven, and I spread it around with this sponge, and it said you can leave it for 4 hours, or if it's really bad, leave it overnight. So I decided, of course, leave it overnight. Just put it in the bottom. And then... also, that comes with this product is a very big, thick plastic bag, a see-through plastic bag. And the idea is you take the glass off the front, because actually the glass on the front of the oven, that was the worst bit. Come on, ladies, you know when you clean the oven, do you find that's the worst bit for you? The glass on the front, is that always the most, I was going to say disturbed then. No, that's me, isn't it? Not disturbed. The most... dirty item, the glass on the front. That was caked. It was caked. It was nothing on there. You couldn't like brush it and stuff would fall off. It was just like burnt on fat or something. I don't know what it was. So I took that off. I just undid 2 screws and it comes off quite easy. Well, I say it comes off. I had to lever it off with a screwdriver because where it fits in the hole bit in the front of the door, that had stuck. So I had to carefully, very, very carefully, lever it with a screwdriver. So that came off. And then I took the racks out. They too were full of burnt on dirt. And you put these 3 items, or however many that you've got, in this very large plastic bag. I read the instructions and it says, carefully pour half the bottle. I've already put half, well, not half of it. I've already done the bottom of the oven. I put a little bit in there, not too much, just enough to cover it. So it says, pour half the bottle in the bag, seal the bag, and very carefully tip the bag to and fro so that the items in the bag are completely covered in this gooey oven cleaner stuff, which is, of course, very dangerous. So very, very carefully, I made sure the bag was sealed, and just gently like that, went backwards and forwards, trying to cover the glass and the racks with this liquid stuff. And you could see why they say do it carefully, because if there had been a tear and you started, going mad, backwards and forwards, the stuff could come out of the tear and possibly splash up into your eye. And that must be, can you just imagine the pain? It's bad enough when you get soap in your eye, innit? Which I did actually down the swimming pool the other week. Oh, they've got these soap dispensers on the wall. And you push them and you get a bit of soap out. But if you push them too hard, sometimes it sprays out straight in your eye. Oh, so much pain, dear. Pain? You like me to have pain, don't you? Why is that? Huh? Anyway, back to the story. So, I did that. And then I put the bag down. I left it outside in the garden because I'm very nervous of that stuff. And went back to the instructions. It says, after 4 hours, if they're still not clean, pour in the rest of the liquid. And then once again, do that with the bag. So I did. I waited about 4 hours. Poured in the rest of the liquid. I went backwards and forwards with the bag, very, very carefully again. Like I say, I had my rubber gloves on. Oh, I look fabulous in my marigolds. I really do. Rubber gloves. Don't they feel funny? The only thing is, when you take them off, your hands stink of rubber, don't they? There are other items that I've noticed whenever you touch them, your hands smell of rubber, don't they? Can you think of any other items that make your hands smell of rubber at this moment? Let me know if you do. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So I've done it again. Put the rest of the bottle in. Backwards and forwards with the bag. Carefully put it outside. That was it. Right, I'll finish that tomorrow. Went to bed in the afternoon. Got up. Went to work. Came back. Went to bed. Next day, got up. I thought, right, today my new oven will be revealed. So once again, on went the rubber gloves. On went the old tracksuit top to cover my arms. And I commenced the cleaning. Looked at the instructions. Get a bowl of soapy water and a sponge and start removing the stuff from the oven. Well, I can't believe how easily it came off. This stuff has been burnt on there for, it must be 8 or 9 years. Don't get me wrong here. I mean, the oven was not filthy dirty, okay? But let's face it, ladies, as you know, we'll use that spray oven cleaner and wipe it off. Doesn't get it all off, does it? It leaves bits on there. And now and again, I won't say I did it often because I didn't. Now and again, if it got a little bit too, like, you know, when you get, say you're doing a casserole or something like that, and you know stuff drips onto the floor at the bottom of the oven. Now and again, I'll say, oh, I need to do that, and I'll remove it, spray, and get off what I can. But it never removes it all. This stuff removes the lot. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. So clean. And I thought, well, that's worked all right. You've got to be so careful with this stuff. And I think I cleaned it out 3 times in the end, twice with the soapy water, because you never get it out first time, do you? Although I wasn't rubbing hard or anything like that. It was just coming off. And then finally with clean, clear water, so that you know you've got all that nasty chemical stuff off. And then I thought, well, I've done that. I shall tackle my piece of glass and the 2 wire racks now. Went out into the garden. I looked in this bag, and all the brown stuff, because the bag had been left kind of upwards, if you see what I mean. All the brown liquid, well, it wasn't brown liquid when I put it in, it was clear, but it was all at the bottom, so you could see straight away that it had taken a lot of the brown off. So I carefully opened the bag and removed the glass, and I did all this in the garden. I got my bowl of water, my soapy water and my sponge, and I started wiping the glass down. My God, there is not a single piece of burnt on grime on that bit of glass now. I'm so proud of myself, I really am. You can even see the writing on the glass where they've stamped something on the glass that says this side towards the oven. I could see that. I didn't even know that was on there, dear. And that marvellous, oh, just marvellous. So I cleaned everything about 3 times. And the racks came out as new. They are shining, boys and girls. They are shining. And I put it all back together again, and that was it, really. I spilt a bit of the stuff on the floor when I was cleaning out the oven, but I wiped that up and mopped the kitchen floor afterwards, and it was all smelling lovely. And you know what? Do you remember, I think I told you, there was a smell in the kitchen. It's gone. I think it must have been the oven. What do you reckon? It's gone. Absolutely gone. And the oven is clean and sparkling. So I had to share that with you today. I'm very, very proud of myself that I have done my oven. Do you do ovens? What's your oven like? Come on, ladies. When's the last time you did your oven? Be honest now. Let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Of course, I kept the cats well away, dear, while I was doing this stuff, and the floor was mopped, and it all smells. I think I've got flash berries fragrance or something like that. It's very nice. It's a mauve-coloured flash, which you must try. Flash floor cleaner, that is. So I'm proud of myself. And you know what? The next time, and then I used the oven yesterday for the first time since it was cleaned. And what did I do? Fish. I did cod in breadcrumbs and some roasted vegetables, tomato and mushrooms and onions, peppers, a bit of olive oil. And it didn't smell. Isn't that funny? Just shows you how dirty the oven is. Do you know what I think? I think what does it is when you do a roast in there and the grease is spitting away all over the place in the oven. I think that's what makes it dirty. Awful. But now it's cleaned. I am pleased. Now, I was telling my sister about this. Oh, also, you know, they say, oh, there's a squirrel going up and down the tree outside. Hello, squirrel. There's no bulbs for you now, my darling. They've all come up and gone. If you're watching one of the programmes earlier in the year, you will know that a squirrel stole bulbs from one of my hanging baskets. I observed it with my own eyes. And the cat just sat there and looked on. What a waste of time that is. Oh, it's a little squirrel going up and down the tree. Look at it. They do make a lot of noise, don't they? Where's it going now? So the window's right in front of me there. Anyway, you know they say you become like your parents. Well, after I'd cleaned the oven, I thought, well, how can I minimise the dirt that falls on the floor in the oven? So I looked in my cupboard and I've got a metal tray thing, what you put things on to do food. And I found an old one, so I got some foil and I covered that in foil, put it in the base of the oven. How simple was that? Why the hell didn't I do that before? I don't know. I think this is something that Mum used to do. And also, you know your grill? You know you got your grill and it's like a metal thing with sides, just as, you know, about an inch deep. And it's got a little grating thing on the top where the grating thing comes off so you can clean it and whatever. And so I took that apart, took the grating off that and put foil in that as well and put the grating on top, put it back in the oven. Now all I have to do is chuck a bit of foil away. How much easier is that? And why don't we do these things until we suddenly realise how dirty things start getting? I always remember Mum saying things, why do you leave so much mess? I suppose I did, really. Were you like that as a child? Did you leave mess everywhere? Just like Mum. Foil in the oven and nice and clean. My mum was very, very house proud. Every day before we went to school, we would be woken up by the pleasant noise. It wasn't an unpleasant noise at all, but the pleasant noise of the Hoover on the stairs. Ooh, like that. Up and down the stairs, and you'd hear that sucking noise, wouldn't it? As it was going up and down the stairs. As it was picking up the dirt coming from us. Every single day, my mother hoovered the entire house from top to bottom. Kitchen was clean and everything. Why am I not like that? I don't know. Are you like that? Are you a house-proud person? Or is it a little bit messy? And come on, lads. Those of you lads living on their own. Or maybe we have students watching. Oh, they are disgusting, dirty houses. What is wrong with you student people? I tell you what it is. None of them individually is probably very dirty. But the trouble is, they rent houses together. There'll be 5 or 6 students living in a house, and they can never decide whose turn it is to do the washing up. You need a rota, boys. Come on, lads. You need a rota. None of the gay boys are like this, you know. Oh, no. I'm probably an exception with the state of my kitchen. It's not dirty. It's just things everywhere. I might come in from work and I'll put the bag on the top and I might empty the bag on the top of the work surface, you know, by the cooker and all that. And then the next day I'll pick up the things that I need for that one, but the things from the last night will stay on top of the work surface, and it kind of builds up. Do you get that? I cannot see my surfaces. The one thing I never ever do is leave stuff on top of the hob, because you never know whether you've accidentally left that on or not. I've got one of those halogen. Is it halogen? Halogen hobs. When I bought it, I don't know, for some reason I was under the impression that when you turned it off, you could put your hand on and it wouldn't be hot. But it's not like that at all. I think that must be another thing. No, sorry, I lie. I think I've got infrared. I don't know now. Does anyone know what I've got? But I know it's a hob, and when you turn it on, it lights up orange. Okay? It takes a little while, and it comes on, and it's really bright orange. But it remains hot after you turned it off for a long time, a reasonable amount of time. And there's a little light indicator on the hob to tell you that it's hot. Once you've switched it off, so it's still hot. What are the ones where I think they must be halogen ones, where as soon as you turn it off, it goes cold again? Is that right? Someone let me know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. My sister, Sharon, I was telling her about this oven incident, and she said to me that she had been using that, But she was so impressed on how easy it was to use, she kind of overdid it a bit. And now it has actually got 2 holes in the back of her oven. That's because she didn't rinse it off properly, isn't it, sis? Huh? So if you do use this stuff, for God's sake, make sure you rinse it off properly, because it rots the back of your oven, or it has done to hers anyway. Because, of course, I mean, her oven is used a lot more than me with her family and what have you. So what about you, lads? Come on. When is the last time you did yours? Is your place a bit of a state? Or is your house spick and span? My friend Ron, his house is spotless. Spotless, and everything is in order. If you accidentally, because he's got pictures behind one of the settees in his house, right? And if you accidentally lean back too far and touch a picture and it kind of moves, he notices it straight away. I mean, honestly, you are frightened to sit down in the chair. You really are. Because you get dents in the chair. And when you get up for it, right, you might get up from the settee, go to the toilet. He quickly goes over, puffs up the cushions, and you come back again and it's like no one's been sitting there. He is as bad as that. Seriously, as bad. All his books are all in neat piles. There is not a speck of dust anywhere. But the only thing was wrong is, I mean, it's very self-indulging, I suppose. He has pictures of himself all around the room. Now, that's not right, is it? Huh? That can't be right. Why would you have pictures of yourself all around the room? Huh? I don't know. I had a lovely time at Belushi's in Hammersmith this week. I work there. I do 2 nights there. Belushi's in Hammersmith. I DJ there on a Saturday night between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And I do karaoke there on a Monday night between 9 p.m. and 12 or 1 a.m. Sometimes we go a little bit later. I had a fabulous time there. But do you remember, I was telling you about Terry, who worked at the place that I used to work in while I was doing bingo at West 5. Terry, and I remember telling you around Christmas time, he was a barman there, quite a good-looking barman, and people kept bringing him in presents, even when he wasn't there. Do you remember that? Well, I'm there in Belushi's on Saturday night, which is a boy-girl venue. It's a straight venue there, but all are welcome, of course. And I was going to help myself to get a glass of water, because I don't drink. Getting a glass of soda water. And one of the French lads there suddenly came out with a box full of cakes. I said, "Where'd you get them?" He said, "Customer bought them in for me." And I'm like, "What?" "Yeah." And I thought, I can't believe it. How comes all these bar staff and that, they get gifts? I don't get anything. Now and again, my friend Gwen, who we're still waiting for her phone to be fixed, then we can talk to her on the phone. My friend Gwen, now and again, brings me in a little bar of chocolate. My friend Rory, when he used to, doesn't come much anymore, used to bring me in a bag of cheese and onion crisps. But these other people, he got a box full of cakes from a customer. Why is that? Why don't I get anything like that? It's not right, you know. But, funnily enough, a few days later, Lee, who works with me in Clapham at a place called the Two Brewers in Clapham, he came in with this great big cake. And I said, "What's that for?" He said, "That's for nothing." He says, "I just thought we'd all have a treat. How nice is that?" How nice is that? And he said, "What do you think?" And he opened this box. Oh my God, the most beautiful, delicious looking cake you have ever seen in your entire life. Well, not as nice as the one Dad used to bring when I was a little boy. Because he knew this cake shop in Fleet Street. Not as nice as that, but nevertheless, rather nice looking, I have to say. It was covered in bits of fruit, strawberries, grapes, and it was so well presented. And around the outside, it had a chocolate fence. Little chocolate grated fence all around it. Marvellous looking thing it was. So he says, "Do you want a bit?" I says, "You don't have to ask me twice, my love." So he cut me this bit of cake. Big portion. Oh, yeah. Lee don't muck about. He knows. Yeah, this is isn't it annoying when you go in a restaurant and you order a bit of cheesecake and it arrives and you can barely see the blooming thing on your plate. Don't you hate that? And a lot of these restaurants and cafes everywhere, and they've got slices of cake for sale for £2, and they're tiny. How can you? I mean, it does annoy me. Oh, it does annoy me. Talk about they make as much out of a cake as they possibly can, don't they? Well, they don't actually, because I'm sure more people would buy these bits of cake if they had larger portions, dear. I mean, I'm not saying to go over the top, as I do sometimes. That's why there are no cakes here. Now, one of my favourite cakes was a Cadbury's chocolate Swiss Gatto. But I'm sure they've changed the recipe to that because it doesn't taste the same as it used to do when I was a child. Been going for years, that is. And it's a bit expensive now, so I don't have that anymore. But if I do have a cake, you know, a third of it will go straight away. I'm sorry. I held my hands up and admit to it. I commit that sin. I have to have a third of the cake. And I can't stand it when you go into a restaurant and you order a piece of cheesecake and it arrives and you can't even see the blooming thing on your plate. It's so small. So small. It's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. I don't want a child's portion, thank you very much. Can I have an adult portion? And they look at you, don't they? I just send it back. Not having it. Not paying that for that tiny little bit of cake. But Lee, on the other hand, in Clapham, knows what the lad's like. And he cut me this enormous piece of cake. Which is, you know, I have to say, I just had dinner as well. Not only dinner, I just had a chili con carne on a baked potato with cheese followed by an apple pie. And then an hour later, I had this delicious piece of cake. It was nice. So I said, where'd you get that from then? And I think he got it from Chinatown, actually. He's found a cake shop in Chinatown. And I highly recommend it. I must find out the name from you so I can recommend that. I think it's Chinese people that make the cake. And it's just so beautifully done. And it tasted delicious. Oh, it tasted delicious. And it was only £36. £36 for this great big cake. That's what I call value. I don't mind paying for stuff, as you know. I don't, honestly. If stuff I think is value for money, then I pay. That's it. This cake was value for money. So that was the Thursday, okay? Friday, Saturday. Sunday, I work at this place, Two Brewers, on Thursdays and Sundays. That sort of place I do DJing and I put a show on. I don't do the show myself. I put the show on. You know, I work the buttons, work the lights and all that. That's what I do on Thursdays and Sundays. And I've gone to the bar to get myself a pint of soda water. And I noticed the cake box there. And I said, is that the box from Thursday? He said, no, it's someone's birthday. I said, you're not telling me there's another cake in there? And these two, Chris and Alan, their names are. And Alan is always drunk. Oh, it's shocking. He comes in, he's all right when he comes in, but he is absolutely legless, usually by the end of the night. It's shocking how some people behave to it. It really is. Now and again, I do have to pull him up about it, but, you know, that's it. So Chris said, oh, it's Alan's birthday. No, Alan said it's Chris's birthday. And he said, look, and he opened it. Oh, my God, it was another one of those cakes. I thought, oh, dear, how can I refuse? I am being tempted, boys. I am being tempted. So he said, do you want a bit? Alan said. I said, oh, yes, please. He said, I'll bring you a bit over later. Okay. Now, usually, unfortunately, I don't suppose people do it on purpose, but they usually forget that they've promised you a bit of cake because there's so much going on. How can they remember? How can they remember the poor lowly DJ in the corner standing on the stage? How can they possibly remember that someone so unimportant as me would want a little bit of cake? But he didn't forget. About 10 minutes later, a piece of cake arrived, all neatly wrapped up in a piece of tissue paper. And I opened the tissue paper. Oh, my God, I could barely see it. It wasn't the same size as Lee cut me at all. It was about A quarter of the size. It was a tiny bit. It was like that, dear. It was about, I don't know, 2 inches wide. You're lucky to just get a bit of a taste. I thought I'd arrived in one of those restaurants or cafes with the small size portions again. Terrible. So I was very, very disappointed at that. I know, terrible, eh? But we do like a bit of birthday cake. Email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, Alan and Chris, they're not... I think they're around 35, 40 years old, and they're going to... they said, we're going on holiday. Where are you going? Gran Canaria. I mean, it's hardly long haul, is it, boys, eh? Gran Canaria, dear me. I've been there... Actually, I've been there 3 times. It's all right for a quick holiday, isn't it, Gran Canaria? Because it's not too far, and it's not too near, because you're about... I think to go to Gran Canaria, it's about 3 hours on a plane, isn't it? Yeah. It's all right there. It's all right there. Okay, let's see. What else have I done this week? Oh, stupidly. I was so stupid the other day. I go swimming most days, Monday to Friday. Incidentally, I haven't yet renewed my sports centre membership, and it's going to run out in a few days' time. So I need to decide whether to renew that large... fairly high price, I think, for that swimming pool, or go to the one down the road, which is less than half the annual fee. I mean, it is a huge saving, about £350, $700. So it is quite a large saving, but I might not like it in there as much. I don't know. Nevertheless, for £350, I should force myself to like it, I suppose. So I must get down there and try that one out and see if there's been any changes since I left it. Because I left it and I was very unhappy with how it was being run and all that. That must be 4 years ago now, something like that, you know. You would think that the gym I'm with, not the gym, well, it is a gym, but I don't use the gym, the swimming pool that I use, you would think that they'd noticed you hadn't renewed your membership a few days before it ran out and contacted you to say, why haven't you renewed? They sent a renewal letter, which I haven't responded to. You would think, in this economic climate, they'd be on the phone saying, oh, you haven't renewed your membership yet, can we ask why? And then would do some sort of deal, wouldn't you? You would think that. Oh, well, their loss, I suppose. Anyway, so... I was getting ready to go out in the morning. Sometimes it takes me so long to leave the house. Does it you? I can't get out the door. Or you can get out the door, you lock the doors. Oh, I must go back for something. Then you unlock all the doors again, then you lock them again, then you unlock them again. And it goes on and on. I can't get out of the house half time. And this particular day, I got my swimming trunks in my pocket. Excuse me. I got my money in the other pocket, on my membership card, and I always cycle up to the swimming pool. Locked all the doors in the house, said goodbye to the cat. I always say goodbye to Katie. She does appreciate it, I know she does. You see her little face smiling? Oh, she purrs away. Locked the doors, locked the front gate. Went to get on my bike and realised I hadn't got the bike out of the shed. Which is in the garden. So I had to unlock all the doors again and get the bike out. How stupid is that, eh? Getting all that way and not having your bike there. I suppose I could have pretended that I had a bike, couldn't I? Sort of, rather than walk up to the sports centre, I could have kind of crouched down a bit and pretended I was on a bike. Would that not be a good idea? Don't know. All right. What's the time? Oh, is it that time already? Let's do some emails. Are you ready? First of all, it's Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Who's saying, I enjoy... Oh, can you hear that noise? Oh, I know what that is. Can you... Just a second now. I've left my alarm clock on. Sorry, that's just gone up. You probably... Can you hear that or not? Yes, you can. 1 minute. Turn it on. How rude. I've got an alarm clock, yeah, but and it's kind of set to go off at a certain time, but I'm always up 2 hours before it goes off anyway. I seem to be getting up earlier and earlier now. I've noticed that. This morning, I got up, and this is unheard of, at about 20 to 9 in the morning. Now, I know for most of you that's like late. You probably get up, if you're in the UK and you've got a 9 to 5 job, you probably get up about 6:30 in the morning, something like that, possibly even earlier. But you have to understand, I don't get to bed till 3 or 4 in the morning usually, or it used to be. But now I am going to bed earlier. For example, last night, well, let me go for the week. Mondays now, I generally get to bed about 2 o'clock. Tuesdays, I get to bed about 1 o'clock. Wednesdays, about 1 o'clock. Thursdays at 3 o'clock. Fridays, it depends whether I'm working or not, but usually again about 1 or 2 o'clock. Saturdays is a late one now, say about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and Sunday is 3:30, 4 o'clock. So they're the times I get back to bed. But just a few weeks ago, the earliest I would get to bed on any night would be about 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I suppose what's happening is, as I've given up some of my DJing jobs to do other things, this has allowed me to go back to bed earlier. And, you know, it seems to me that the body is now naturally adjusting itself to leading possibly a more normal life, if you see what I'm saying, with the getting up and the going to bed. Of course, I do still have those late nights, but they are no longer every night of the week. And it's fantastic getting up again at 8:45 in the morning. I get so much done. Get so much done now with that extra early few hours. Although I've noticed also that I sleep a little bit longer now in the afternoon. Can be two to 3 hours instead of sort of 1.5 to 2 hours. So it all works out in the end, doesn't it, eh? Do you get up early? Are you one of those people that get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and commute into work? How long does it take you to get to work? And what's the journey like? Do you drive? Do you take a train? Do you get a bus? Tell me about it. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And what about, if you do use public transport, have you got any good stories to tell us about your time on public transport? Anything unusual that has happened? My friend Gwen, the older lady who comes around to do the karaoke, she's got some fantastic bus stories to tell you. And as soon as her phone's fixed, I know it's been a couple, I can't believe how long it's been, can you? As soon as her phone's fixed, we're going to get her on the show and we'll have a long chat, okay? Right, here we go then. From Lisa, she says, I enjoyed catching up with your shows from the previous two. Was off on a mini vacation. That's why she's a bit behind with the shows, weren't you, Lisa? Was off on a mini vacation to Newport Beach, California. California, here I come. Da 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 da. Yes, I've never been there. She says it was so nice. I have a sunburnt face that I can't believe. Oh, you've got to be careful with that sunburn, dear. Not good. The cruise I took was on an overcast day. Oh, that's a shame. The sun only came out from one small area above us for a short time and then hid away. Boy, was I surprised to see myself in the motel's bathroom mirror while brushing my teeth the following morning. I looked like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if ye ever knew him, he would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer... Oh, is it Christmas already, dear? Where are the tinkling bells? Where are those sleigh bells? Ring-a-ding, ding, ding, ding-a-ding too. Huh? She says, say I have to take issue with you something, dear. Lisa, what are your issues with me, my darling? She says, you know that on that previous show, You listed every regular of your show of the female persuasion as possible head-turning beauties in your example of male-female chemistry, except for me. How cheeky. I'm sorry, Lisa. How can I be forgiven for this sin? I need to pay a fine. That's what I need to do. As I said right at the beginning of the show, we need to be fined on a regular basis. All of us in the world, we need to be fined regularly, even though we're not doing anything wrong. I need to be fined. She says, actually, do you know Suko in New York? She was a bit upset the other day because, I don't know, I was mentioning lots of people and she didn't appear in the mentions. I mean, you think these people, some of them, I don't know what's wrong. You know, are you just watching the show to nitpick on faults here, there and everywhere? Huh? Is that what it is? Are you questioning my creativity skills? Is that what it is? She says, remember that you were telling the fellow how not all puffs, which you've spelt wrong actually. You've spelt puffs with a double O. It's actually P-O... Oh, let me write it down. P-O... Oh, hang on. Yes, sorry. You've spelt it P-O-O-F-F. It's actually P-O-O-F-S. Puffs. Okay? Puffs. Remember that when you were telling the fellow how not all puffs are into straight fellows. Then you gave the example of how if a straight fella is walking down the street, not every female he sees will be beautiful enough to turn his head and get his interest. Yes, I remember that. My niece, on the other hand, Lisa, my niece walks down the street and their heads turn. Oh, I'm proud of my niece. And she's very well equipped at the top, my niece, and I have to tell her off about that. Sometimes the tops are a bit too low and I have to tell her, go and put a jumper on, Tracy. And then she calls me old-fashioned. I'm only thinking about my niece's welfare. She's got a boyfriend that she lives with happily. Thank you very much, lads. Leave her alone. My sister walks down the road sometimes. Strangely enough, no one looks at her. I don't know why that is. She walks up and down that road for hours. Not a single hoot or a wolf whistle at all. Lisa says, then you proceeded to list as possible head turners Suko and, well, every other female except for little old me. I know I'm not exactly a young hottie anymore, but I have been told I am quite cute. And some even say pretty. 2 words that I wouldn't use about my sister again, I'm afraid. I know you are not straight and couldn't care less how I rate, but give a girl a break. Here, there are a lot of straight guys listening and watching, right? What, there are 1 or 2? There are 1 or 2, yes. In fact, the majority of them are. Help a straight single girl out there, huh? All right, Lisa, I get your point, dear. Look at me in my new vacation sunglasses, and Lisa has enclosed a picture of herself. This is the first time I have seen the said Lisa. It's all very exciting. What does she look like, boys? Come on, California lads. There might be a lady for you here. She says, look at me in my new vacation sunglasses, photo attached. And here is the said photo. And I have to say, Lisa, you, my dear, are rather delicious. She's looking extremely cool in some rather large sunglasses. May I just say, the large sunglasses, you look like you might have insect eyes. Do you know how insects, they've got like really big eyes? I think you need to take the sunglasses. You're hiding something under there, Lisa. Have you got a glass eye? Is that what it is? Lisa's hiding something. And I like your hair. Is it crimped? Have you got crimped hair? I like it. She's gorgeous. Lisa is gorgeous. I'm sorry, Lisa, you are. And is it right that I cannot see a single wrinkle on there? So she's got these big dark glasses. She's got lovely lips and beautiful hair. You are very nice, Lisa. I'm tempted myself. I am tempted, Lisa. She says, feel free. Dear me. Now, this is where I think you're going wrong, Lisa. You're being self-complimentary. Feel free, she says, to gush over my adorableness, beauty, and natural flair for style to all straight, single, handsome fellows listening or watching the show. Thanks in advance. Lots of hugs from Lisa. Now, of course, if you're watching the show on one of the many video streams that are kind enough to allow me to put it on there, then you will now be able to see, by looking at your camera or your picture, how gorgeous and stunning Lisa is. And she really is. She's lovely. Thank you, Lisa. It's nice to know what people look like. It really is. I love it. Love it. Lisa also wrote, do you folks in the UK like to wear sunglasses as much as we Americans love to wear them? Well, we'd like to, but we don't get enough sun, to be honest. She says, is it sunny enough there? No. Where you live to require sunglasses? It seems like the movies and TV shows are often showing the UK to be a foggy, dreary, damp place all the time. Is that true? I will answer the question on the next show because I've run out of time. As always, thanks for watching and listening. Do feel free to join in by email. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Bye-bye.